Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me. This is Jennifer Coe. I'm your executive director at YMCA Camp Kenan. I'm going to get started here. Just going to move here, make sure we get everything else going. Thank you so much for coming tonight and to learn a little bit more about Camp Kenan. Really glad to have you. Looking forward to any questions that you may have as well. So first thing, here's what we're going to be looking at tonight. Just first, a little bit of the logistics. You're going to be looking at the screen that you have in front of you. Just going to run through some slides that have lots of pictures and answer a lot of the, I'd say, frequently asked questions that kids and parents have about camp. If at any time you do have a question, you can go up to the bar and you can click into the chat, and you can click either to send a message just to me or to everybody in the meeting, and I will get to that either as they come up or at the end of the meeting, if I haven't already answered those questions. So please feel free to do that. There may be a couple times as we're going as well that I ask you to put something into the chat box. I might ask you a question, and if your camper is there with you, you can ask them for their answer to the question, and they can either type it in or you can type it in for them. Tonight we're going to learn. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself so you know who that I am. Very briefly, talk about the two camp choices that you have through YMCA Buffalo Niagara. And then I'll talk a little bit about why I think camp is so important, and then answer those frequently asked questions that we all have. And then if you haven't registered yet for summer camp, I'll tell you how to do that. And then just leave a little bit of time at the end where you can chat in any of your questions. Again, just with logistics, you do not have to have your video on. I suggest that you keep your audio muted just so that there isn't any feedback that comes back and forth during while I'm talking. Again, please feel free to chat into the chat box, and if I don't get to you right away, I will come back at the end and I will answer those questions. And of course, if there's anything that's specific to your camper that you have a question about, please feel free to reach out to me personally. You can either do that by email, or you can always call me as well, and I will respond to you as soon as I am able. So again, welcome. So glad to have you here tonight. And I'm really glad to be able to share a little bit about Camp Kenan with you. So who am I? Again, as I mentioned, my name is Jennifer. I'm the executive director here at YMCA Camp Kenan, and this will be my 5th summer here at Camp Kenan. But I've been a camp director for over 25 years, and I will say that I have been a camper my entire life. I started going to overnight camp at probably about the age of 8, so when I was in 2nd grade, and I truly believe that, at least for myself, camp really changed my life. I was very, very shy as a child, right up on through high school. And going to camp, I was able to be with a different cohort of kids to try activities that I didn't have the opportunity to try while I was at school, and to really try things that were outside of my comfort zone. And those might be things like speaking in public and sharing my feelings and trying new things that I just hadn't done before. And these really set me up for success. So when I talk about how much I believe in camp, for me, camp isn't just a job. Camp is really a lifestyle, and it's really where I am today. Outside of camp environment, I have gone on, I've got a bachelor's in anthropology. I have a master's in camp administration and leadership. I've been working on my PhD in education. And I really believe, again, that camp is an opportunity for us to really be able to pursue a lot of wonderful things that help us, not just in the outdoors, but in life and whatever field that you want to go to. So again, it's very passionate for me. So I live right here at Camp Kenan. And so when your kids come to camp, they'll see me, they'll know me. I want to make sure that they have a friendly face right away, and know that I'm here all the time. So while I may not be, sleeping right beside them in their same cabin, I'm here at camp and they can always reach out to me if they have any questions or they have any concerns. And just so that I can prove this to you, this picture here is taken when I was at camp as a child. I am in this photo. Probably can't figure it out, but I'm right there. My mom's pretty proud of this picture too. She likes it when I show it. So while I'm going to be focusing mostly on Camp Kenan tonight, I do want to let you know that there are two different overnight camp programs that are in the YMCA Buffalo Niagara area. We're super lucky to be able to have that. Camp Kenan, which you'll see is located in that heart that's way up at the north. We're right on Lake Ontario. We are the only overnight camp in all of Niagara County. We're located about, I would say, about an hour north of Buffalo. We're just a little bit over 30 minutes from Lockport. So really super easy drive to get here. Camp Leona, which is our second camp in our association, is located kind of near the center of the map there, probably nearest to Warsaw, New York, and it's just about a little less than an hour from Buffalo, a little bit southeast. So what are you going to see when you see Camp Kenan? This is just one of those Google aerial photos. We're located probably closest to Barker, New York, right on the shores of Lake Ontario. What you're going to feel when you're there is there's generally a lake breeze that's blowing all the time. It keeps things relatively cool. Quite often I'm calling into Lockport and I'll say, how's the weather down there? And they're like, it's scorching hot. And I'll say, not here. We've got a beautiful breeze, which is really great because, again, it keeps the temperature a little bit cooler and we don't get very many mosquitoes because of it as well. The topography, we're a little bit over 50 acres. And again, you can kind of see that carved out area towards the north of that picture. And the landscape is relatively flat, as is most of the geography right along the lake. The cabins are located centrally around kind of the outside of that rectangle that you'll see there. And we've been here now for 99 years. So we are celebrating our 99th year in 2023 and are looking forward to the 100th anniversary next year. Let me see. There we go. So some of our favorite activities that we have at camp, again, is just being able to spend time on the lake. The lake is generally pretty wavy and rough, but it has some absolutely beautiful scenic views. We like to walk along the lake, look for fossils. As long as it's calm enough, we're able to canoe and kayak on the lake. There's lots of shorebirds back there and some absolutely amazing sunsets. Camp Leona, again, just going to briefly tell you a little bit about this, is similar in that we have many of the same activities that we do at Camp Kenan, but Leona is much larger. Located near Warsaw, it's over 800 acres. And instead of being relatively flat and condensed, it is very spread out and a very woody, hilly landscape. It's been in its present location for just over 65 years now. It celebrated its 125th birthday last year of being a program, but was just at its location for 65 years. And then some of that same activities at Leona, similar to Kenan, they do have a small man-made lake that they canoe and kayak on. And they have a local horseback riding vendor that does bring in their horses once a week. So the kids can have one horseback ride while they're there. But other than that, that's basically the only difference in the programming between the two locations. So I already told you how important camp is to me, but I'm not the only one. There's been a lot of research that's come out that does talk about how important camp can be to kids. And I think especially post COVID, we see that camp is enabling kids to really start to practice a lot of those lifelong skills like cooperation and communication, working together, social skills, independence, and really just appreciating differences in others. It really does help kids to develop their independence as well. They get to meet new people, but they don't have you there to kind of push them sometimes, as parents do, and try this or try that. They've got to make a lot of these decisions on their own, and it really does help them to develop some of that independence. They've got to pick out their own clothes in the morning. They've got to kind of learn the repercussions if they don't, put on their socks. They've got to keep track of their water bottle and learn how important it is to make their bed. And so putting them in this environment together, kind of without the parents, does help them to develop this independence. It also gives them a chance to play. And most importantly, to play away from electronics, away from the phones, away from the screens. Research is showing that kids on average are spending upwards of 7.5 hours in front of a screen every day. And so imagine replacing all of that time with outdoor physical activities that kids can enjoy forever. It's pretty awesome. Other things that researchers say is that just being outside really has numerous benefits for kids, reducing anxiety and depression, improving their focus and concentration, and just helping them to be healthier. So let's get to some of those questions that everybody asks. First thing is, what kind of programs do we have at Camp Kenan? We have basically 3 different programs that start as young as age 5 with our first experience campers and go all the way up to age 16 or 17 for our counselors in training. So our first program is our first experience camp. And as I mentioned, those are for kids that are ages 5 to 8. It runs for 2 nights and 3 days, and really is just kind of a taste of everything that we do at camp. They'll get to go swimming and go out into the woods and try archery and try climbing. They'll play games. They'll have a cabin of their own with their own counselors. They'll eat in the dining hall and get to go down to the beach. So they'll get to do all the fun things at camp, but in a shorter period of time. So if they're a little nervous about staying away for a whole week, or if parents are a little bit nervous about them being away for that long, it gives them a little trial run. In many, many cases, the kids that come to first experience camp, by the end of that week, I'm able to look at their parents and say, you know what? They did really great this week. I know that they're ready for a full week. I'm able to tell them, you know what? They did pretty good, but I think that they might want to try this again. So we really get to know the kids and are able to kind of gauge whether or not they seem to be ready for a longer overnight experience. Second program we have is our just traditional camp. And this is what the majority of campers come to Kenan for. And this is for those who are ages 7 to 14, and they come in from a Sunday to a Friday. So it's our full week experience. And again, they're doing all those different activities, just staying for a longer period of time. Eating in the dining hall, they're doing a cookout dinner, they're participating in our all camp activities that week. They have opening campfire and closing campfire together, doing archery and climbing wall, and they're also able to do some choice activities while they're there as well. And then for our oldest campers, starting at age 14, we have a leader in training program, which those kids also get to do all of our traditional camp activities, but we're starting to teach them some additional communication skills, facilitation skills. They might get to do some community service while they're at camp or work with younger campers, plan programs or help to run programs to really give them some independence and some opportunity to take the lead. And then kind of our penultimate program is our counselor and training program for kids that are ages 15 and 16. And this goes beyond the leader in training program and allows those kids to really start facilitating activities and learning how to supervise campers that are going to be in their care. So those are our programs. Here is a close-up aerial view of Kenan. I showed it to you kind of zoomed back earlier. In the yellow arrows there, you can see that's kind of the lineup of where the camper cabins are. So at the top of the screen, you'll see Lake Ontario. And then as you move down the screen, there's our dining hall and a basketball court, our office and recreation building. Going another layer closer, there's a basketball court, playing fields. That has been completely recovered now with a brand new Versa court, which is really colorful and it's great. You'll see our swimming pool, and then all around the outside, kind of moving from the left and then underneath, are our 14 camper cabins. The colorful rectangle on the left is our bounce pillow. And also on the left, kind of above and to the left is our health lodge as well. So those are some of the main parts of camp. First question, kids run onto camp. They're like, where are we going to stay? Where are we going to stay? Well, as I mentioned, we have 14 camper cabins, and each of those cabins will house anywhere from, can house up to 14 people, but we usually keep it between 8 and 10 campers. So our first experience campers, there's generally 8 in a group, and then our traditional campers, there's 10 in a group. Each of those cabins also will have 2 staff members, or a staff member and a counselor in training that stay right in that cabin with the campers at night. Each of the cabins has bunk beds, they've got mattresses, there are some shelves. Great spot to put your luggage is right underneath the bunks there. They do have overhead LED lighting, and plugs in them for our emergency walkie-talkies and such. In the cabins, the campers are all assigned by age. So I look and I get the whole list of campers at the beginning of each week. I sort them by age, and then I put them into cabins. So age, and then boys and girls. You can, of course, request a cabin mate, somebody who you would like to stay with. And as long as you both request each other, there's no problem with that. I'll make sure to honor that. That paperwork is sent out starting next week, and then you'll get that as you register as well. Where do we eat and when do we eat is another popular question. This here is our dining hall, and it is long rectangular building. One side of it completely overlooks Lake Ontario. So you get that nice breeze that blows in off of the lake. At our dining hall, the back half of it is our full commercial kitchen, where we have a chef and we have cooking assistants that assist the chef in making the majority of the meals that are at camp. We always, for our full week campers, they always have an opportunity to cook at least one meal outdoors over the campfire. So during that meal, the cooks will prep everything, but the kids get to cook it outside. The meals are simple, because I know what a choosy diet kids can have. I was one of the pickiest eaters when I was a kid. And so I try to make things that are very, very simple. And, not only are they simple, but they're usually things that you can build. So if you don't like something, you don't have to worry about it being in your food. So what are some common breakfasts? We usually have a main item, so like pancakes, waffles, French toast, eggs and sausage or bacon. And then every breakfast, there's also the option of cereal, yogurt, granola, fruit, and milk that are available. So if you don't like the main meal that we're having, there's always something extra that you can have instead. For lunch, a lot of the options are build your own. So that could be like a salad where you could choose the items you want, or a submarine sandwich, which again, you can choose whether you want lettuce or tomatoes or onions or ketchup or mustard. Uh, might be a pita bread, tacos, or one of our favorites is a baked potato bar because baked potatoes are gluten free. And so for those our campers that have a gluten free diet, that's great. They get to have same meal as everybody else, and they get to choose what they want on it as well. And then for dinners, we usually have some kind of hot main ingredient and then lots of choices of sides. So there might be a veggies and fruit and a roll or breadsticks. Some of our favorite meals that we have would be like pasta Alfredo with chicken and broccoli and garlic bread. And then on Thursday nights, we always have a Thanksgiving dinner. We are so thankful for having a great week at camp. We all get together. We have turkey and mashed potatoes and veggies and pie. It's a huge, huge endeavor. There's a couple more plates there. Usually on their first night in, we have a picnic. So it's either hot dogs and hamburgers and watermelon and corn on the cob, things that we're all familiar with. And as I mentioned, at least once during the week, we'll try to cook a meal over the campfire. And so usually your cabin will get together and we do something simple. It might be hot dogs or pizza bagels, something that's that isn't too difficult. And of course, we'll roast marshmallows and have a s'more as well. And because a lot of the options are this kind of build your own menu, this really helps to for kids that not only are pickier eaters, but also for those who have special dietary needs, because they can choose the items that they can eat. And our staff is always there to help as well. So our chef is there to help, and then our staff members are there as well, and they're always aware of this, special dietary needs that kids have. Staple items that we do always have at camp include things like a non-dairy milk alternative, gluten-free cereals, nut-free peanut butter. Those are things we always have in case any of your kids need those. Another question that kids ask as well as parents is, what do we do if we get sick or we get hurt? And as I mentioned, we have a health center that's right at the center of camp. It is right across from the pool and right across from the bounce pillow. And we have a medical provider that stays at Camp Kenan 24 hours a day throughout the entire week. It's usually a registered nurse or a licensed practical nurse who is on site, who lives right here at the health lodge. So they can provide minor first aid needs for minor first aid, scratches, simple burns and bumps and bruises and things like that. Or if kids have regularly scheduled medication that they take while they're at camp, that will stay right at the health lodge. And the kids can come right over to the nurse to get their medication. This is also a good place that if parents do ever have a question, they can always call camp, and either somebody in the office is going to answer the phone, or if somebody is not there, it also rings into the health lodge, and our nurse is always happy to answer any questions or any concerns that you have. There's still, of course, are concerns about COVID. I'll just share a simple story with you. I didn't get COVID the entire time that it happened. I never missed a day of work. I was with kids the entire time. We ran camp the whole time, in emergency childcare. And I just got COVID 2.5 weeks ago. And so we know that COVID is still out there. And what I'd like to say though is that that doesn't stop our camp experience. Many of the precautions that we have learned from COVID are things that have, in fact, made our camp experience a little bit better and a little bit healthier, and are things that we were already putting into practice, even prior to the pandemic. So we really encourage the kids, of course, to wash their hands before and after meals. We spend lots of time outdoors, and we still try to minimize as much large group time indoors as we can. We are always encouraging the kids to cover their mouths when they're coughing and sneezing. And then, of course, encouraging you to have them stay home when they're sick. There's other things that we follow that again have always been a matter of practice. Like in the cabins, the kids we always keep distance between the kids' heads. So we always maintain 6 feet distance between their heads. And again, just hand washing and things like that. Using our own water bottles and not sharing. All things that keep us healthy regardless of whether it's COVID or not, just keeping kids happy and healthy while they're at camp. We also have, in addition to our nurse, we have lots of staff that are certified in first aid and CPR who can help with minor bumps and scratches and things like that. All of our lifeguard staff are trained and certified, as well as our archery staff and our climbing wall staff. Everybody has been trained in emergency situations. And then another question that we get is what happens if we miss home while we're at camp? What should we do? Now, I know a lot of people call it homesickness, but it's really not a sickness. It's just something that happens when we're away from home. Everybody does miss home when they're at camp. Even I do, and I just live, at the end of the driveway. The biggest thing I can suggest to people is make sure you're prepared. What are you going to do when you miss home? Are you going to maybe write a letter or write in a journal or draw in a journal? And knowing that missing home is okay and that it's totally normal often makes a lot of kids feel more reassured that it's not something that's wrong with them. It's just something that's normal. We do try to keep everybody super busy and not thinking about missing home. So it tends to not be an issue. Our day starts really early. We usually wake up around 7 a.m. and we go and have a flag ceremony all together. And then we go and have breakfast in the dining hall and then kind of rotate through different activities. So every kid that comes for the full week of camp gets to try things like archery and science and fort building in the woods and going on the bounce pillow and walking along the beach and swimming every day, doing climbing. So they get to do a little bit of all the activities, and you'll rotate through them during the week. After lunch, we have like a little break, a siesta in our cabins. And then we have what are called skills tracks or choice activities, because you might get a taste of everything that's at camp. But it's possible that there's something that really intrigues you that you want to learn more about. And so during a skills track, you get to choose one of a special area that you'll get to follow throughout the whole week. So one of the skills tracks that we have is outdoor survival. And during outdoor survival, you get to go into the woods, you learn how to build a fort, you get to learn how to build a fire, you get to do lots of different things. So you get to, during that skills track, you'll get to advance on your skills throughout the entire week. So you get to try a little bit of everything in the morning rotations, and in the afternoon skills track, you get to kind of delve into one topic for the whole week, and can get better at it. After dinner, we have what are kind of called our all camp activities. And these are things where the entire camp comes together and we do some kind of big themed activity. I didn't mention themes yet because themes are really at camp kind of like the icing on the cake. Everybody gets to do all of the traditional camp activities, but each week we have a different theme. And quite often the theme comes into play during the evening activities. And so it might be a special scavenger hunt or a special all camp activity that we do, that again, the whole camp does that together. Usually the call to cabins is right around 9 p.m. And during that time, we're brushing teeth and putting our pajamas on and really trying to get the kids to calm down, telling stories, talking about the day, what is something we're looking forward to the next day, and then hopefully it lights out by 10 p.m. And then the day starts all over again. So of those activities, I mentioned that there was the rotation in the morning and then the skills track in the afternoon. Now for those skills tracks, you usually only get to choose one for each week that you're here. So it could be that this year you want to do the archery skills track, but maybe next year you want to do in the arts and crafts one. Again, it just gives you opportunity to really kind of do a little bit more in-depth skill. So archery is one of those. We have a beautiful new archery area that will just be opening up this year. It was just built at the end of last year. And archery is possible for kids of all ages. So we have appropriate size bows and arrows and instruction that is appropriate for kids as young as 5 and all the way up to 15. Lots of group sports and group games. On the right there, that's our bounce pillow. It is just this giant bouncy thing that you can bounce on. The kids absolutely love it. They learn how to stay in the green zones and the green and the yellow zones and away from the red zones to stay safe. And they just bounce and bounce and bounce. They love it. We also have both what's called a low ropes team building course as well as a high ropes team building course. All the kids while they're there do our low ropes team building course. These are challenges that we put forth to the campers, and they have to work together as a group, make decisions, solve problems so that their whole group can get through the challenge. They're super cool. We have about 12 different elements that the kids can get challenged through. And it might be that this year they only do 2 or 3 and they do 2 or 3 different ones next year, or they might have a different theme associated with them. So again, working together, communicating, and really problem solving is the focus of those low ropes team building activities. This is another one here where this group is working together. And you can see this really gives a chance for this one camper that's behind them to really take the lead. He's kind of coaching them and mentoring them, help encouraging them, telling them maybe what they need to do. And then they'll swap out so somebody else can have the opportunity to take the lead the next time. Now, the staff member in this case is not the one specifically leading the activity. They're the ones that are setting it up, giving them the rules, supervising for safety, but it's really about the kids being able to work together to solve these problems together. We also love to do outdoor living skills in nature. What a absolutely perfect location that we have here to be able to go look at plants and flowers and animal tracks, to learn to build a little mini fire for the first time. And for many of the kids that come, it's the first time that they've ever done a lot of these activities. And again, all working together with the staff members watching them as well. We have a nice little arts and crafts building that's been here for decades, where the kids can do a set craft that we do each year. So it might be tie dyeing or painting or making leather bracelets, all sorts of different things that we have. Usually it's associated with the theme for that week as well. Arts and crafts is also one of those skills tracks that kids can take, and during that time they'll get to do something that's a little bit more skilled. We have a super awesome pool. I think we have the best pool in the entire Buffalo YMCA region, because not only is it outdoors in a beautiful location, but it is accessible to kids of all ages. So our shallow section of our pool is only 2.5 to 3 feet deep, which allows even our youngest 5-year-old campers to be able to enter and access the pool and be able to stand up in it unassisted. So that's really awesome. We swim test all the kids when they enter camp, so we know whether or not that they're what skill level they are for swimming, and so we're able to place them that way. We do some basic swim instruction with them, and my goal is always to help those kids that are in the shallow section be able to learn how to jump successfully into the deep end, to be able to recover themselves, and to really be able to learn how much fun the water is, as well as how to be safe in it as well. The kids do get to go swimming every single day as long as the weather is okay. We also do boating in Lake Ontario as long as it's not too choppy. It really depends on what the weather is during the week and what the water level it looks like. It's again our goal to be able to give every child the opportunity to be able to go out into the lake if we can. It isn't always possible. We do try to give them that opportunity. While the kids are out there, we always keep them fairly close to shore. We have our lifeguards that are out there, our staff members that are both on shore and in the water, and all the kids are wearing life jackets when they're in the lake as well. We also have a climbing tower with a zip line. Now, all the kids during the rotations through the week do get a chance to do the climbing tower. They may not all get to do the zip line though. So to do the zip line, you have to be able to scale all the way to the top of the climbing tower. And since that usually takes some practice and some dexterity, it's usually the kids that are in the skills track for high ropes or for ropes that get to go to do the zip line. But everybody gets the opportunity to do the climbing tower. And then of course we have campfires. I think this is one of the most special parts about camp, where you're getting together after hours, just in the light of the fire, telling stories, singing songs, just being together. Being able to just kind of stare at those flames and think about your day and relax. It's like listening to music and watching TV now. It's really just kind of that opportunity at the end of the day to decompress. We do start the week with an opening campfire and we end the week with a closing campfire. And then the kids also have their own campfire midweek when they do their cookout. Another question is, who is here? Who are the staff? I will say that the staff that I worked with at Camp Kenan are some of the best staff that I've worked with in my 25 years. Most of them are staff who work currently in our after school programs or in other programs at the YMCA. So they may be lifeguards, as I mentioned, in the after school program. They may work with our teen leaders or maybe one of the coaches that is at one of the branches. So many of them, again, have been here, have worked for months, if not years, with the YMCA. But regardless, all the staff that work with us have an in-person interview. They have background checks. They have reference checks. And we have a full week of on-site training where they stay here 24 hours a day. And we go through all of the activities we do at camp, how to operate them safely and how to supervise them. Staff who run the pool, archery, climbing wall, high ropes, low ropes, any of those specialty activities have additional training in each of their areas as well. We are also super lucky to be able to get staff who come in from other countries as well. Most of them are youth development professionals who just love working with children. Last year, we had staff from England, Poland, Turkey, Colombia, and some of those staff are coming back this year, as well as we have some really awesome staff, additional staff that are coming from the United Kingdom this year. I mentioned also our leaders in training and our counselors in training. They're also campers, just like your camper is, but they may help with some of our younger groups, especially, but they're always going to be supervised by another adult as well. So this here is our summer camp schedule. This is the first time in many years that we're running a full schedule. For the last couple of years, we've done a split schedule. So we've done half the summer at Kenan and half the summer at Leona. And this year we're doing a full 7 weeks at both camps this summer. So you have the opportunity for 7 weeks of overnight camp. At Kenan, we also do day camp. So we do 9 full weeks of day camp concurrently with our overnight camp. A lot of those kids get bussed in from the Lockport Family YMCA on a daily basis. So you can see here our first experience camps. We have 5 different opportunities for those. They either run from a Sunday to a Tuesday or a Wednesday to a Friday. Our traditional camp, again, we have got those 7 weeks. And then our leader in training and counselor training, there's 2 different offerings of those. So lots of opportunities. All of the weeks at this point are open. The only session that is closed is the very first experience program, July 5th through 7th. I believe that one is full. There are a couple other first experience camps that are approaching being full because we only take 8 campers per session for those. We really try to keep those groups very small. So there's only 8 campers in those. Of the traditional weeks, the weeks that are filling up the fastest and that are our most popular are week 2, which is our Kenan Olympics. The Olympics program at Kenan has been happening, I would say, for almost the full 99 years that it has been here in existence. So it's always a very popular program. And then the other program that is super popular is our Pirates Camp, which is right in the middle of the season. And then the Best of Camp Kenan week, which is at the end of the summer. So what do you need to do? If you've already signed up for camp, there's nothing that you need to do at this point. You'll be looking forward to getting an email from me. It should be next week. We're just finalizing one of the forms right now that will have some forms for additional information. So a health history form, medical administration form, things like that. That'll be coming to you. And that paperwork is due by June 1st. If you haven't yet registered for camp, you can do that either online by doing it through your YMCA account, or you can also call the Lockport Family YMCA and they can guide you in how to do that. It's a very simple online process because they're just asking a couple of basic questions, and then a $50 deposit will hold your place. If you wanted to sign up for an additional week of camp, you may do that as well, by either accessing your account or giving a call. So again, while you're thinking about any questions that you might have, want to let you know about a couple other opportunities that are coming up. We will have an upcoming webinar that will be just for parents and kids of registered campers. So once you're registered, we'll invite you to a webinar. It's either April or May. And that one is very interactive. And so we really encourage your kids to be here with you. And we do polls and we do questions. And we do some, some jokes and things like that. So that one will be coming up before camp. During that one, we focus on really what do you pack for camp? What do you need to make sure to include in your paperwork for camp? And just preparing parents for what to do without their children. It's a fun webinar. We also have a couple opportunities that you can come and visit us at camp. The first opportunity that is coming up is April 1st. So April Fool's Day, we have a Breakfast with the Bunny program that's at Kenan. It starts in the morning. We do an Easter egg hunt, a scavenger hunt, and then we do pancakes in the dining hall. And then after pancakes in the dining hall, we'll have 4 other stations that you can go visit with crafts or activities that are outdoors that you can do. Not listed on this slide, also, we have our schools out day at camp. So it's on Thursday, April 6th. It's one of the days that the kids don't have school because of their spring break. So Thursday, April 6th. We have a full day here at camp that kids can register for. It's for any kids that are ages 5 and up. We do have a bus that picks up at the Lockport Y. It picks them up in the morning, brings them to camp. We spend the whole day here. We're exploring the woods. We're going to be roasting peeps over the campfire. We're going to do a little bit of all different activities, really looking for signs of spring. And then the bus brings them back. If you're closer to the Barker area, though, you can bring them right here to camp. That's fine. So that's April 6th. And then April 29th is Healthy Kids Day. That's a free event that happens at all of the branches across Buffalo, Niagara. And there's just fun, free activities for kids. We will be doing an event here in the afternoon. So all the other branches will be doing events in the morning from 10 to 1. And then from 1 to 3, we'll have activities that'll be going on here. And then our open house is on Saturday, June 3rd. Okay, so yes, question came up. Will we get an email about the upcoming webinar for registered campers? Yes, you will get an email about that. I'm hoping that, again, that I'm going to be able to send that paperwork out next week, and included in that will be the parent guide. And in that parent guide, it will have the dates for the webinar. And then I will also send out a separate email to all registered campers just to remind them of that, to make sure that they register for that. And there's usually a good number of people on that webinar as well. I think we had like 100 or 125 last year. So that was really good. Any other questions that anybody has? And again, if you do have a question that's specific to your camper, you're more than welcome to give me a call, or you can email me directly. Let's make sure we have my email here. My dog has decided that he's done with me talking. Yeah, so here's my email. It's jcoe@ymcabn.org. Mr. Max. That is my email. If you have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And as I mentioned, you can also send me an email separately as well. That's perfectly fine. Yes, I will definitely do that. So once we're all done, it takes a while for the video to save. So it'll probably be tomorrow. But I will send you a link to it. There is also a link on the YouTube channel for YMCA Buffalo Niagara of the first webinar we did. So I will include that as well. Same information though. Thank you. You are very welcome. Oh, you're so welcome. I really wish that, more folks would take advantage of just learning about camp. I don't know how many people I've talked to that they just don't know that it's there, and, been here for 99 years. So, and I truly believe that of all of the programs that we can offer, a week at resident camp is just the most amazing time, because you're getting your physical activity, you're doing health and wellness, you're doing all these activities that foster independence. I just think it's an awesome thing, and I just wish everybody would do it. So again, Please, if you think of any questions that you have, don't ever hesitate to email me. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And it also lets me know that there are, people might have those similar questions as well. So if there aren't any other questions, I will let you go. Again, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and look forward to an email from me where I will send you the link to this. And then again, invites to the upcoming webinar for registered campers will be coming up as well. Have a wonderful evening and thank you so much for coming. Bye, folks.